One of the things I'd like to hear more about is your fight for your children. So my grandson is 11, and his dream is to play for the NBA. He used to, throw the basketball before he could walk. And his father is definitely, supportive of that. I mean, he trains every single day. What are some of the things that you are doing to fight for the dreams for your kids? How is your household different, especially in a world of mediocrity? I mean, are your kids playing video games? Do they walk around with cell phones? Like the culture that they have to live and breathe around. How are you fighting for the dream in that culture?
It's good. It's really good. That is a day in and day out slug out, right? Because you're up against such an enemy, right? Our kids, you know what's funny about them? Because their dreams are so big, they don't do that video game thing. They just did not, I've never played a video game in my life. And I made a rule because I saw all these kids playing video games and distracted by shit. And I said, you can play the video games that you're in. And so Axel, if he can play a video game when he's 22 or whatever, and he's the quarterback in the video game. You see, then he can play it. But they're not going to play video games that they're not in. You see what I mean? And they don't miss that stuff. That stuff is a real distraction for them. So we're constantly pointing out what it takes, because the rest of the culture is not teaching them what it takes. They're teaching them what's famous, or how can you get a Gucci backpack. I'm like, what? A Gucci backpack? How about, this is in football, right? So Axel wants to be a football player like your son or grandson. Is it your grandson?
He wants to be NBA, yeah.
NBA player? So all Axel's buddies are talking about playing pro football or pro basketball so they can have the Gucci backpack that somebody wore. And I'm like, we're not playing that game. We're not playing that game. We're going to out-train them all. While they're distracted with Gucci backpacks, we're going to be training. While it's raining, we are going to train. While the rest of the kids are sleeping in, we're going to train. It's the hardest thing in the world when you come, like Dawn and I travel, and sometimes it's without the kids, like now. So we're here and they're an hour away from us. So we've got every relative, every grandma and grandpa, every babysitter, every high school girl delivering our kids all these different places, right?
Yeah.
But Axel trains early in the morning, right? So
he was at school at 6:15 this morning.
At 6:15. That's hard to get somebody to go do that, right? Because when we're there, it's easy, right? Because that's what we do too. But when you're away and you go, can you drop Axel off at his training? People go, sure. And they go, so you got to wake up at 5:30. They're like, no, I'm not doing that. And so now they throw away the dream based on time. I don't believe in that. I believe the dream takes precedent over everything, over video games, over the prom, over everything.
It's constantly giving them the choice to look at, and where is that choice going to take them, and just reminding of them that, so it's putting a lot of the responsibility in their hands, but they're still young. So we've kind of, we kept going, well, when do they take it on themselves? When do they start waking up and wanting to train? And slowly you start to see them take it on. I mean, our daughter's 13 and she's made a huge shift this year. Like she's just blossomed, right? Yeah. And she was like, oh dad, okay. She just was kind of pushing back, but still wanted to be part of the conversation and was still interested.
Yep.
And just took it on. It's like her thing. I was just like,
they're listening.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, my daughter, Eloise, who she's talking about, like Axel and I and Lila would be over here working on our plans and our dreams and drawing pictures and putting them up and marking them off. And Eloise would come over. She's the oldest, right? And she's very beautiful and very like artsy. And she's like, Dad, it's being the best, so silly. And pretending like she doesn't care, pretending like she would never make a plan or a dream. And sure enough, slowly over the years, she sneaks her little butt over there and like starts to nudge in and look at our plans and start to make her own. And all of a sudden, she's taken on her own dreams and her training. And it's amazing to watch, but it's her idea, right? We had to let her find it for herself. And they're watching, and you can't give up. parents, you can't stop. Because if you have that quitter's mentality, if you stop the dream, they'll stop the dream. You got to keep inviting them. Keep leaving crumbs. Here's what the Easons believe in. Here's what we do. Easons don't play video games. Put your hands in. While other kids complain, Easons train. Go to school. These little rituals, these little things, over time, pay off. And these kids, I think, are going to have the dreams of their lives. I think they're going to, and it might be scary as hell for them, but I think they're going to have them.
And the heartbreak, too.
Yeah.
Like, if it's already happened, and I'm sure there'll be more of it. So that's all part of their story and part of what shapes them and gives them character. So, and they know that.
Yep.
They know it's all part of the process and where they're going, and you know, there's a path for them.
Yep.
Here's what I want you to do next. I want you to go over to boeason.com and I want you to download my free storytelling guide. And in there are all kinds of exercises to get you up on your feet, start developing and telling your story. You're also going to be the first to find out when a new video comes out, because the hardest thing about being the best and continuing to be the best is you have to be reminded of what is current. So you're going to be the first to know. We're going to keep you accountable. Go over to boeason.com. Continue to be the best.